Hi. I'm just gonna wing this because, as you know, I don't have a lot of time to sit and edit a fancy video. So I'm Leanne Unruh, and I started Love's Calling International back in 2014, I believe. We started small. We started with, as you do, with one idea with a first step God led us to, and that was supporting a young missionary friend we knew that could not go. Also, there was a family of 4 kids that were coming from a very poor household, and they could only send one kid a year to a mission trip. And we were just like, this is crazy. There's 4 yeses sitting there waiting to go, and they couldn't go because the church just wasn't stepping into that understanding of the importance of that. I, having the background of teacher, coach, this is in Western Colorado where I did all these things, mom of teens and youth worker, saw this from all sides and was like, you know what, we got to take whatever yeses we get and work with it and pour all of our resources into sending these kids to learn about Jesus, or this battle's going to be a long, hard one. So that was kind of my heart going into this, and it just became more and more clear over the years. That said, I had gone through a divorce. Those are never a beautiful thing. They're awful. It's not what God wants. I remarried, moved down to North Palm, and began to we created Love's Calling at that point, living out this mission that God had put on my heart for years. And my husband does the financial end of things, and we've sent, I don't even know the numbers, to be honest. It's a lot. We now work with people all over the world. It helped that we had a son that was in missions, and he started his, my son is kind of the example that I always tend to go to of worst case scenarios with kids that are kind of a wreckage, the world would see as a wreck, but that God pulled out from that wreck and placed on their feet and sent into missions, and ended up, he's a full-time missionary, married, and a beautiful story. But I thought that was a very rare story until we really started working with young people and realized, wow, this is actually a very common story. Most of the young people coming into missions are broken people. They're not going to be those straight A students. They're at college. These are the kids that had it rough and have hurts and wounds and found their way to Jesus and now want to serve him the rest of their lives. So we have quite a big mission to work with, because not only do we take care of these kids before, during, and after they go into missions. And so missions for us can be anywhere from, we don't really do the week-long things. I noticed you guys have given up on that as well. That's something that, the church can take care of that. We work with people that, specifically with Youth with a Mission, they will take a student, it's 5 to 6 months, and that's a discipleship training school. You may be familiar with it. But then they go from there. Oftentimes they want to do another school, or they want to now step into staff. And that's where we would love to see them go, especially if God called them into missions. If not, they come back, and we help at that point too, because as we've moved along and we've learned that people need help and support every step of the way. So we help them re-enter, which is sometimes difficult or a bumpy ride, and then they will start, we'll just hook them up and make sure that they, get their feet back into the United States, if it's the United States they're coming back to, and help them get reconnected with their church, make sure they get missional again locally, because that's what their heart needs and wants and desires, and it's what God had called them to in the first place. Even if they take jobs, it's important to get them reestablished and back serving. So we wear a lot of different hats at Love's Calling. Right now, what I'm asking for is we have 2 places. I now work for free. My husband can provide for us. So we kind of gave up on the idea of me getting a salary, and now I just give my time to do this full time, along with volunteering in my own church. But what we now do is we have 2 funds that we really focus on. One fund is the scholarship fund, and that's because we never know when you're going to get that kid straight from the gutter that has no support, no family support. They're coming from a non-Christian background. They maybe not have a church, nothing, and God's calling them out. And we just want to make sure that that kid is covered. It's not often we get one like that, but we have seen it. So we always wanted to make sure that was covered. That's kind of where the heart of getting that established came from. But then we also have underprivileged people from Black communities that come in. We have one good friend of ours right now that we just love and adore, and she's often out and finds herself in a stitch sometimes. You just never know when you need to help a young missionary out. So that's what that was established for. And then the other thing that we do is an internship. And again, it's just another way we can give money, but we wanted it to always be tenfold when we do something like that. So this internship came to me one night I didn't have time to run our social media. I was getting too busy. And I just thought, wow, it'd be great if we could pay an intern to do it. Well, intern is such a technical word, and it seems like something only colleges do and whatever. So I kind of just used the term, and we hired somebody on to do a little test run for free. We didn't give any money, and maybe a couple $100 actually. She ended up running it and did a great job. And what it did was it sparked made me become a little more focused, because I needed to tell her what to do and what to share. But also she connected us with her friends, and then also we connected her with our friends. And that has actually been the biggest blessing of all, is the connections that happen through that internship. Not only are we sharing ideas, right now we currently have a middle-aged woman, our age, that is in Perth, Australia at the Y1 base there. And she approached me when I put up the ad that we needed a new intern if she was too old for it. And, again, I went to God with that, and he was like, I think she'll have a great perspective. So she's running it now, and he was right, she does. And it's been amazing. And so we put someone in that position. They'd run that for us for a while. Again, all the connections that were made, the people she knew, that we knew, people that were able to share, because we have them ask their friends to share, and it just brings even more people into the community. It's just so beautiful. So that's what that's all about. And I hope that gives you some kind of idea what we do. We started out very small. We were making t-shirts. My daughter was designing t-shirts, and we would pray over the t-shirts, and we'd have sending parties where everyone would wear the t-shirt. And it was very, for the time we were doing it, was very beautiful and elaborate. And it was just God training us up on how to even start helping someone learn how to fundraise for themselves. So I'm going over the 7-minute mark here, so I'm going to stop. But we would appreciate any partnership you have. And thank you for doing what you're doing. Okay, thanks again.